And Bill Benton.
Before I kill myself up here, thank everybody for coming out tonight. Let's have a little bit of fun tonight. Schizo Bill, he kills me every time I see him. And you got to get one of those little balls because they're fun to squeeze. So I was hoping that we'd fill all the chairs, and if there's anybody in the back that wants to move up, I promise I don't do anything where I make fun. You'll get a great seat. I got visual aids. If you want to move up here, it's the last chance. Also, I want to, I had a little bit of a worry. There's a lot of people from work here tonight, and I am getting paid tonight. This is my professional gig, thank you. And just to be safe that there was no conflict of interest, what I did is I took the money I'm getting paid and I taped it under one of the seats. So if everybody can just check under your seat, someone is going to go ahead and win the money that I'm getting paid tonight.
Did anyone win it?
Anybody? And you just reach under your seat if you're sitting down. I don't like put gum under there. Come on. No? Nobody? Nobody?
Gum under.
Check gum under your seat. No? Look, let me try this one right here. Oh, what an amazing deal! Or in English, screw you guys. This is my money. So I want to give a little warning to everybody. If you are here tonight, you work with me. I am a professional comedian, and Jerry has deemed that to be so tonight. And George Miller has hired me a couple times to be a professional comedian. And I'm giving you a warning that you don't want to attempt to tell the jokes you hear tonight at work tomorrow. It's a totally different environment. And it's just like if you went to a stunt show and you saw a guy set himself on fire and jump off of a building into a vat of gasoline. You wouldn't go out the next day and do that at work. These are dangerous jokes. I'm walking a fine line with some of these. So please be aware. Let me give you an example of a dangerous joke. Take this as you will. I work with a lot of people from India. Anybody from India in the audience? Yay, yes. So there are like 1.1 billion people in India.
1.2.
1.2 billion, even better. 1.2 billion people because 0.1 billion are here. Thank you. And it's an ancient culture with languages and arts, and yet in the entire history of India, there is a phrase or a series of phrases that not a single person has ever uttered in the entire country of India. I'm going to tell you what that is right now. Do you want to hear it?
Yes,
okay. You're speaking too loudly. Please back away from the speakerphone and lower your voice. Never been said in the country of India. However, if Mr. Elias Akori spends a week in India, it may be that somebody has to say that. I promise no crowd work. I lied, Elias. So one of the things, a little thing in comedy is you go out and you throw out a little event in your life, and it's like a gratuitous applause line. And I'm going to throw out my first of at least 2 gratuitous applause lines for the night. I recently turned 50 years old. Thank you. Thank you. And turning 50 has some special benefit to it. I actually thought it was when I turned 40, and I went to my doctor, and he said to me, "Hey, Bill, you just turned 40." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Does this mean it's going to get weird between you and me now?" And he's like, "No, that doesn't happen until you turn 50. Now, 10 years later, I go to the same doctor, and it's been building as a nightmare for the last 10 years as I've been anticipating this birthday. And I swear to you, every time I go and visit the doctor, I say hello, I shake his hand, his fingers feel thicker than the last time I went. And it's gotten to the point, he's like the Hulk. You know, I can't even get my hand around his index finger anymore to say hello. And there's no way in hell at this point that it's going to get weird between you and me. So I decided to start shopping for a new doctor. And I basically have one criteria, and that is slender fingers. So I am visiting doctors. I don't read their diploma. I don't care where they graduated from. I don't care what the reviews are on Yelp. I say hello, I shake their hand, and I ask them their ring size. And then I move to the next doctor. Now, it surprised me that particularly proctologists don't advertise the slenderness of their fingers. Because you'd think if you were a proctologist and you were trying to draw in business, that you would advertise slimmest fingers in the 3-county area. And you'd have a line of men at your door choosing you. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And now, as I've not found really the doctor that I'm looking for, whenever I meet somebody, I kind of eyeball their fingers. But it's difficult because I don't know how you broach the topic if you do meet somebody with very, very slender fingers to say, you know what I'd like you to do for me? Is if you could take one of your very slender fingers and put it in my ass clinically and feel around for cancer. I think asking him to feel around for cancer is the gross part myself. Because I don't know that I want to touch cancer. You know, I think I could get used to the finger in the ass. And I did see someone that I thought was ideal. There was a comic here, and he had little arms. He was born with little arms. And he had the slenderest little fingers you ever saw. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm sitting in the audience, this is the guy. This is the guy. And the problem with him was that even if you wanted to be a proctologist, as a proctologist, I think you want your work very, very far away from you. That you reach out with the full length of your arm and feel around for cancer. You don't want to have to bend down and get right in your work and feel around for the cancer. So that makes it difficult to ask him. So I'm still shopping for a doctor, and I tell you this weighs on me daily because it's for my own health. At some point, I got to get checked. But colossal finger ain't going to do it for me. I got to find another doctor. So I was in, a little smooth segue there. I was in Texas last year. Hell, it might have been this year, I don't remember. But I was in Texas visiting my sister. And anybody here have a sister or a brother? Fantastic, fantastic. We have so much in common, you're going to love this joke. So I'm visiting my sister, it's my older sister, and the closest thing I can describe her to is Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins, remember, was a practically perfect person who did practically perfect things. And my sister Samantha blazed a trail of perfection ahead of me through several schools that I had to burn to the ground as each teacher met me the next year. And everywhere, somewhere in this world, Samantha's doing something better than I can do it. And it irritates me. It's like this rivalry from when we were little kids that still lives on. And she's got the perfect husband, and they're always happy. And her 2 kids, they never fight. Like my kids, it's like WrestleMania every night at a certain point. And they're almost adults now, and you're having to pull them apart, okay? Her kids are just, not necessarily not fighting, they love each other, and they express their love for each other in everything they do. And it's damn fucking uncomfortable to visit them. So when I went for a visit with them, I decided that my visit would not be complete until I had them at odds with each other. And I laid down strategies to get them at odds with each other. And the tipper was, they had just bought a new television. And it was this big, beautiful new TV. And it had one of them giant remote controls with like 20,000 buttons on both sides. And they couldn't quite figure out how everything was working yet. You know, it's like they're changing channels and menus are popping up, and they're trying to figure this out. And what I did while I was sitting there is I got on my smartphone and I loaded the app for their television, which they had not protected from the app yet. And I proceeded to screw with them as they tried to master the use of their remote control. And amongst the things that I did, I had a YouTube video that I kept casting onto the screen, okay? And it would start playing, and it was the riddle scene from The Hobbit, okay? So it's like, you know, the Gollum and Bilbo were down there doing the riddle scene, and they would just get it. And they were actually trying to watch the movie The Hobbit, and I kept putting this on in front of it. And slowly it built to like, you know, give me that remote. And then, you don't know what you're doing, give me that remote. And then they're tugging over the remote. And I could see the love disintegrating. and I'm keeping it up. I'm totally straight-faced in the side. And nobody knows that it's me. And I mean, they're really getting aggravated, like stomping out of the room and coming back in again. And finally, my son, my youngest son, looks over and just recognizes the expression on my face and knows that I'm doing it. And shortly after that, the cat was out of the bag, but it was hysterical. It was like the greatest day. So a little later on, I get an email. And we all have friends that are just, you don't remember exactly why you're friends, okay? But you're friends with them. And you don't exactly know what they even think or know about you based on what they do. And I get this email from a guy, and it says, I saw this video, and it made me think of you. And I'm like, okay. So I saw this video, it made me think of you. So I go in the other room, and I open this thing up, and I'm watching it, and there's a guy putting peanut butter on his finger and giving it to his dog. And about 30 seconds into this, he pulls out his dick and puts peanut butter on his dick. And the dog is licking off. And I'm thinking to myself, what about this made you think of me? What possible connection was happening that you saw a guy getting peanut butter licked off his Johnson, and you're like, Bill, that's Bill. And about that time, I heard screaming from the other room because I was casting that video onto the television in the living room. Okay? So this is the word of warning that if you're going to pull a practical joke, make sure you know how to stop pulling the practical joke before the joke is on you. So I am at my second gratuitous applause line. I am at any moment going to become a grandfather for the first time. Any moment. It could be right here during this act. Maybe. Okay? But I'm going to become a grandfather. And I'm a little bit of a romantic. It's just the nature of me that I'm a romantic this way. And I decided to create a memory for my unborn grandson. And I wrote a children's book. And my son illustrated it. And I'm going to read to you now, okay? And I think the precedent for this has been set tonight, that I'm going to sit and read a children's book to you and call it comedy. So let me get this out. And this is, again, why the front seats are going to be good, because it's illustrated. La-da-dee. This is my opening the bag music. La-da-dee, dee-dee-dee, 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 dee-dee-dee. Okay. How are you today, boys and girls? I'm going to read you a little book that I wrote for my grandson. The name of the book is Grandpa Bill Takes Baby to the Doctor. That is how I carry babies. Very, very accurate. Baby loves mommy, and baby loves daddy. But more than anyone else in the world, baby loves Grandpa Bill. Grandpa Bill has a fun beard for pulling. Grandpa Bill has a big belly for bouncing all the way to the sky. Grandpa Bill is the best tickler in the world. Now, a side note, I would never tickle a child with a feather. Yeah, that's just weird, you're right. Today, Mommy and Daddy have lots to do, so they asked Grandpa Bill to take Baby to the doctor. Baby is excited to go out with Grandpa Bill. When they arrive at the doctor's office, Baby is very scared. He's been there before, and it's all needles and crying.
Come on, fingers.
Grandpa Bill tells Baby, "Oh man, there's no reason to be scared. Grandpa Bill won't let anything bad happen to Baby. Isn't this sweet? This is a sweet story for my unborn grandson." The scary woman behind the desk smiles at Baby and winks at Grandpa Bill. The scary nurse with the needles, she smiles at Baby and winks at Grandpa Bill. In the examination room, Baby starts to cry. It's all too scary. That's the saddest part. Don't cry, Baby, says Grandpa Bill. Oh. There was some poor planning and I can't see through this sheet. There's nothing to be scared of at the doctor's office. The doctor and the nurses are our friends. See how comforting, Baby. They have scary needles and nasty medicine, but they want to make Baby healthy and strong. Words of wisdom. Oh, I forgot the part. And stop being a pussy and stop your crying. Grandpa Bill has his limits. Grandpa Bill's gentle words and confident smile make Baby feel safe and brave. He stops crying and makes Grandpa Bill very happy. Then the doctor comes in. "Hello, Baby," he says. "You look very brave today. But I'm not here to see you today. I'm here to see your Grandpa Bill." You see, 6 months ago, Grandpa Bill turned 50. And he has a very special doctor's appointment waiting for him. "Bend over, Grandpa Bill," commands the doctor, and he begins to put a giant glove over his grotesque, huge finger. This is about where we reached my son's limit of what he was willing to draw. Baby laughed and clapped at the funny faces Grandpa Bill was making. Oh, as the doctor pounded his giant finger into his reluctant rectum. Baby pointed and cheered at Grandpa Bill's tears. He must be joking, because Grandpa Bill never cries. The doctor removed his giant claw-like appendage from Grandpa Bill, leaving him bleeding and wounded across the table. Grandpa Bill slowly got up and pulled up his pants. He gathered his grandson and his dignity, and he left the room. In the waiting room were Mommy and Daddy, and the nurse with the needles, and the scary woman behind the glass, and they were all cheering for Grandpa Bill, for how brave he was. Baby cheered the loudest of all. He was so proud of Grandpa Bill. Grandpa Bill was right. There was no reason to be scared of the doctor. Grandpa Bill hugged Baby, letting his love for his grandson suppress the urge to reach in his pocket and pull out his loaded .45 and take swift justice on all the adults who had conspired against him to create such bodily harm. But his revenge would have to wait for another day and for another story. The end. Now, we all know that we need a message, and obviously the message in that story is always find a reason not to kill. No matter how justified you are, latch onto something you love about life, and don't kill. You're welcome. Being a baby again. I have fond memories of being a baby. And it segues with the news of the day. There's been, all kinds of talk about bathrooms, sharing bathrooms, men and women, which bathroom you belong in, what gender, blah, 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 blah. And it got me thinking, and I seem like I'm just always behind history. I'm always trailing, and I'm like, what do we need to change? And then it changes, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what does that change for? And then it's like, it wouldn't make a damn difference. Anyway, so I'm trying to get ahead of history. And so to get ahead of history, I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking about this whole bathroom thing. And I think back to when I was a baby. Now, when I was a baby, okay, if you'd have picked me up and held me, you know what I would have done? I'd have shit. If you put me down on the ground, I'd have shit. If you picked me up again, you know what I would do? I would shit. I didn't care where I was or what I was doing. If I had to go, I went. And as I got older, all of a sudden it's like, no, you can't just shit anywhere, Bill. You have to shit on the potty. And they make you sit on a little potty. And then it's like, no, Bill, you can't have the potty out where everybody can see you. You have to bring the potty back in the bathroom. Oh, Bill, no, you have to close the door while you're using the bathroom. Oh, Bill, you've got to wipe your own butt. There's just one thing after the next. And I want to go back and say, you know what? Life was better as a baby. Why do we need bathrooms at all? I say just shit right where you are. That's my movement. That's me getting ahead of history. I encourage all of you to join me. We can all shit together right here where we are. It's like in politics and stuff, people's like, I don't give a shit what the president says. Well, I want the people that do give a shit to get up and show. You know? Show your support right here in public. That's my theory. The problem is that science isn't keeping up with me. Now, anyone here ever eat asparagus? Okay, what happens after you eat asparagus?
Bee smells.
Yeah, your pee smells. Okay, so science can say, hey, we can make something smell different. Where is science in making shit not stink?
Right.
Okay, where is science? Because the only real reason you guys would really be offended if I took a big dump up here is that it would just stink up the whole room. But if it smelled like fresh baked bread, okay, you might invite me over to your home. You know? I can mix in a little yoga. You know, I can be like a work of art because I'm letting it go. Oh, we invited Bill over for brunch and we had just the loveliest time. He stood in an upright crane position and took the most wonderful defecation on our carpet. A man can dream. Oh, yes. So, I'm getting near the end. Jeremy, where are we on time?
3 minutes.
So what are we at?
27.
27. Oh man, this is going great. This is going great. Okay, so I'm going to bring up voice because I have a passion about science, and I like to understand how things work. And there's some things in this world that work, but science doesn't understand why they work. And one of those things is a magical device called the intrauteral device, the IUD. Okay? The IUD is like a little twisted bit of metal or plastic that you put somewhere up in your vagina, and then you can have all the sex you want and not get pregnant. And nobody really knows how it works. For the premise of this joke, nobody really knows how it works. Okay? Nobody really knows how it works. And so what I've done is I've written a play about the day in the life of an IUD, where we're going to find out exactly how it is that an IUD works. This may get a little bit like a Gallagher performance. So if you have a poncho or something to put on. So boys, you're going to be my narrator. Okay, you can begin narrating, and I'm going to get myself ready. Go for it.
Deep in the mysterious recesses of the vagina stands the IUD on its lonely vigil. Day or night, rain, sleet, or snow, the IUD holds the line between carefree, unprotected sex and certain surprise pregnancy. How does the IUD work? Science does not know. Let us try to unravel this great mystery together by interviewing and observing the IUD in action. Mr. IUD, I'm here to interview you and discover the secret of how the IUD works. But I'm curious, what's with the hat?
What's with the hat? This isn't a hat. I am a colonel of the United States Marine Corps. This is my cover.
But my apologies, Colonel. Tell me exactly, how do you prevent contraception? Sorry, how do you prevent conception?
You want answers?
Yes, I'd like answers.
You want answers?
There are many speculations. I'd like
The time for my grotesque deed is almost at hand. Here. Put this on. Hang on.
Hurry.
Stretch a little bit. Arcane magic requires limber legs. I am a servant of the sacred fire, keeper of the flame of an oar. Your swimming tails of your sperm will not avail you. Go back to the darkness. Back to the testicles! You shall not pass!
are, you fool. Holy shit, Gandalf just took that shot full in the face. He's being puddled by wave of semen. The humanity. Oh, dear God, the humanity. Here's the ending. Gandalf is recovering. He's changing into a wig. Oh, what are you now, Mr. IED?
What's my name, son?
You're Tangina Barons?
I'm Tangina Barrett. Tangina Barrett.
I'm not familiar with who that is. Who?
The Tangina Barrett. She's that creepy little woman from Poltergeist.
Tangina, tell us, were you successful? Did you prevent consumption?
The ovum was not fertilized. This vagina is what I'd like to say. Unfortunately, however, this copulation was taking place over an ancient Indian burial ground. The child of this conception will grow up like many others. But when he becomes a man, you will know him as the Beast. And he'll grow up to be a doctor and have enormous hands with giant zucchini fingers. And then he's coming to get you, Grandpa Bill. He's coming to get you. Thank you, everybody.
Well, Benton, everybody.